I'm Beth Rayberg, and after 2 decades as a CFP and CEO, it's time I teach you everything I know about finances and investments so that you can manage your money on your own. This is Trust Explained in 8 minutes. Let's go. Okay, let's dive into the fascinating world of trust. But fear not, as always, we're going to keep this light and simplify some jargon. Estate planning tends to sound like something from Gone with the Wind or for the ultra rich. But in reality, it's a simple way to let your family and heirs know what to do with your stuff. Think of a trust as a manual for your belongings if something unexpected happens. But here's the cool part. You are not just planning for after you're gone. A trust can work its magic while you're alive, too. We're going to look at two main types of trusts. Think of revocable trusts, often known as living trusts, as a flexible and easy to understand playbook. We're also going to look at irrevocable trusts, which are slightly more complex. Okay, 3 reasons why I love revocable trusts. First, they circumvent probate, which is the public legal process that usually requires an attorney. Unlike a will, trusts skip probate, not only saving you time, but also substantial costs. Imagine no attorney's fees, and your family can start managing your assets right away. Secondly, your rules your way. You call the shots. If you want to change something, go ahead. Your trust is your canvas, giving you the power to modify, amend, or revoke it whenever you want. And lastly, privacy is golden. Your trust can go incognito with any name you choose, whether it's your family name, such as the Simpson Family Trust, your initials, or even your beloved family cat. It's your secret. If you've ever wondered who owns those mystery houses in your neighborhood, check the property records online. And here's a spoiler alert. They're probably listed in trusts, keeping their owners' identities private. Now let's look at the 3 main roles in a revocable trust. The grantor, which is you, setting the stage and keeping control. You write the trust, you change it, and you decide the rules. The trustee, which is typically also you to begin with, is the person who manages the trust. Later, your chosen successor trustee steps in when needed. They're your go-to person, ensuring your wishes are carried out smoothly. And then we have the beneficiaries, the lucky heirs to your fortune, or perhaps your attic full of family photos from the 80s. It's important to note that the role of trustee and beneficiary are different and often confused. The trustee is responsible for following your instructions to the letter and making sure that everything lands where it's supposed to. For example, you might name your adult child as successor trustee, but instruct that they must distribute your cash in equal thirds to their 2 siblings. You get the picture. It's also common to name a bank or an institution as successor trustee if you are willing to pay for the peace of mind or you don't have someone to fill this role for you. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Let's look at a couple of real-life examples, starting with life's unexpected twists. Let's say you're in a life-altering accident, perhaps one where your spouse is killed and you suffer a cognitive injury. I've actually helped a family through this scenario. The bills, kids' tuition, house maintenance, it all still has to be handled. Your successor trustee can step in and begin managing payments, creating liquidity to pay bills, even filing tax returns if the right documents are in place. This is also common when a grantor becomes elderly. And keep in mind, this is a huge differentiator from a will, which has no effect until your death. Let's look at another example. Say you're divorced or a single parent and your kids are still young. You want to ensure that they're cared for, but on your terms. Perhaps you don't want them to have full access to money until they're older, or you don't want their guardian to have full access to your money. You can outline a timeline for withdrawals or dictate how and when they access funds, even specifying uses like education expenses or dictating that your successor trustee can withhold funds up to age 35. Lastly, trusts offer unparalleled flexibility in designating specific assets and distributing your money in any proportion you wish. For example, you might designate certain items such as an old car or a special piece of jewelry to a particular child or charity. The possibilities are endless, and this is where you hear intriguing stories like a New York socialite naming her cat as sole beneficiary. It's perfectly legal in a trust and might leave a trustee with the amusing task of doling out primo cat food for the next decade. Now let's take a brief look at irrevocable trusts. They're like the VIP club of trusts, offering incredible perks, especially for the wealthy. They safeguard assets from taxes and creditors and ensure your legacy passes on without a hitch. But hold your horses. Before jumping into irrevocable trusts, know this. They're not for everyone. The biggest difference here is that an irrevocable trust is unchangeable once signed for, meaning that you, the grantor, no longer retain control over these assets. Because of this, assets in an irrevocable trust avoid estate taxes and are protected from creditors. Shifting them out of your estate also allows someone to leave assets to a beneficiary with special needs or someone who receives government benefits without disqualification for a large inheritance. While irrevocable trusts can be an incredible tool in certain situations, these trusts are often referred to in sales pitches, such as life insurance that allows you to earn tax free income from your cash value for the rest of your life. It's important to understand that this strategy requires both an irrevocable trust to be in place, as well as large lump sum payment or monthly premiums I've seen as large as $50,000 or $100,000 to create a level of cash value that would provide income in retirement and still sustain a death benefit, which is ultimately and always the point of life insurance. And here's the kicker. Most people aren't aware that the estate tax exemption is currently just under $13 million for an individual and almost $26 million for a couple, meaning that you aren't taxed on anything under this level. These levels do go up each year, and if you're in that boat, I strongly encourage you to connect with a financial and tax professional who can provide you a ton of great options for reducing liability. Ultimately, your money and your desires are unique to you. A revocable trust is an easy and inexpensive way for anyone to create a safety net and provide your family with a playbook in any scenario. But decide what's best for you. Make sure you're receiving objective advice and that you seek advice from multiple sources. If you decide to create a trust on your own, there are a number of great resources that allow you to create and download the documents at home. I used Quicken Willmaker, and for around $250, I was able to create a revocable trust, a healthcare directive, and a durable power of attorney that communicates my wishes and allows my representatives to direct my doctors around life support and other end-of-life decisions. I took the documents down to my local UPS store for a notary, which cost me around $50. I discussed my documents and my requests with my successor trustee during the process. I mailed them copies, and I saved everything digitally as well as in my office. I didn't elect to pay for the ongoing subscription, but a number of these sites do provide you with online storage, ongoing support, or even access to a legal professional if you have questions. Remember, education is your best friend. Visit me at bullishhabits.com for more insights, or set up a call with me if you want to level up your financial knowledge. Don't rush. Your financial journey is your own. Stay in control, stay educated, and most importantly, stay curious.